Hi, I'm actually Stewart, and I'm with W.O.W Tampa here, presented by Mind Body Social and sponsored by T-Mobile. I'm going to teach you guys some yoga today. Please make sure you have space for your arms to move and stretch out. Maybe grab some props right now, like a blanket for your knees if you have sensitive knees, or a block to help you to touch the ground. I'm in beautiful Sarasota at the Ringling. It's outside. We have the birds chirping. You might hear some planes today. It's all a part about being in nature and involved with our surroundings. So go ahead and get situated into a comfortable seat, crossing your legs and creating a connection of your sit bones. You might need to even out the flesh, so feel free to pull one cheek and then the other out. Lay your hands softly onto the thighs and let your shoulders just roll around and down, creating a little bit of ease, relaxation of the neck, so we have a nice long spine. As you're breathing here, close the eyes so that way we draw our focus inward, feeling the grounding through the sit bones. And as you're breathing, feel that sit bone push down into the ground and feel it start to lift the spine up as you press. We call this root to rise. Feeling the back of the head gently lift. And right now we're just observing, seeing what our body has, what our mind has. The mind always has thoughts going through it, so we're not going to stop the thoughts, but we're going to try to smooth the waters, the waves that they can make sometimes. Bring one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. As you're here with your eyes closed, breathe into the bottom hand. We're going to give the mind a focus point, so that way we can start to still that rocky water. As you're breathing, let it rise all the way to the top hand. And then when you exhale, exhale from the top hand first, feeling the chest fall, and then the belly comes in second. Inhale through the belly, rising through the middle part of the rib, and then up into the chest. Exhale out of the chest, the middle rib, and then the belly. Inhale through the belly, the rib, the chest. Exhale the chest, the rib, the belly. Doing that 2 more times, just saying hello with the breath. Inhale, feeling what expands, what shifts, what moves. And then as you're exhaling, what's releasing? Where are you dropping the tension at your jaw, at your shoulders? Last one, inhale down into that second hand. Let it fill up and fill out, rising into the top, all the way into the throat. Feel full for a moment. And then nice exhale, sigh, and let it go. Letting the hands come together at the heart. Taking a moment just to have gratitude, moving from a space of appreciation, even if you're not where you want to be, starting where you are. And we'll bring our hands onto the tops of the thighs and start to move the chest around. So feel the chest go forward, and then we're going to start to lean back on the sit bones, let it go back. So feeling the chest expand as we inhale, rock forward, and then feel the chest small as you round back. One more time in the same direction here. You're rocking on the sit bones. You're feeling the movement switch from front to back body. When your chest comes forward to the center, now reverse it. Start to go the other direction, finding that further lean back. Breath is guiding the heart more open and then more closed. One more loop here. Chest forward and then roll it back. Finding that neutral stack spine, we're going to roll onto our hands and knees. So I'm going to shift here. We're going to table pose with our shoulders over our wrists and our hips over the knees. Undulating the spine, start to drop the belly. Feel the tailbone lift and the chest pull through the biceps. We're guiding the shoulder blades down the back. We're pressing through our hands and our feet, and then we exhale, curl the tail down, reverse all of that. Feel yourself rounding out the back. Inhale, tailbone lifts, heart pulls through the arms, gaze goes forward, pressing through hands and our shins. Exhale, round out into our big cat pose. One more time, just warming up our spine here, feeling where it's a little bit tight or sticky and sending the breath to those parts. Exhale, round up, coming right into that cat. Neutral out your spine. We're going to send the left foot off, slide it over to the left. Start to bring your right leg back and open your right arm up, going towards a side plank here. This is modified with the knee down, so anytime you need to, you can always drop a knee in a position to make it a little bit more accessible. Feel your right arm stretch forward, bicep by ear. Take your gaze up if you can. If that arm is blocking your view, just move it a little bit back by the ear line more. Deep breath through our fingertips, stretch them out a little bit longer. And then slowly lift your right leg. Bring your right heel towards your back body. We're gonna reach for the top of the foot. As you grab for the top of the foot, you're gonna kick. If you can't grab that foot, just squeeze the heel in towards the glute. You're activating the hamstring to get a little bit more opening in the quad. So you're getting there even if you can't hold the foot. Feel your body a little bit more bow-like. Take one more breath, inhale. And then slowly, without slingshotting, just float apart your bind. We're gonna take the right toes down to the ground and the right hand down to the ground. Now we're gonna lift the left leg up, push your hips to the sky, finding what we call a three-legged down dog. Hands are down, legs are strong. We're gonna lift the right heel and then drop it. Lift the right heel and then drop it. Bring the left toes down onto the ground and then start to pedal out both your feet, opening up the back line of our legs. We're going to take this pedal to a walk, walking towards our hands, look towards the top of the mat, finding yourself heels under hips at the top, a little bit loosen the knees. Exhale, bring your chest down onto the thighs. Feeling that weight drop to the crown, stretching out the back just naturally by letting go of our effort. Feeling just a little bit of toneness into the belly, pull the belly button to the spine to protect the back. Hands will come to the shin as we start to inhale, lengthen the spine forward so it's in a half lift. And then exhale, right back down, fold your head, drop your fingers. You can always put your fingers on a block if you can't touch the ground. Pushing through your feet, we're getting that root sensation again. Root down, press down to stand up. Reverse the swan dives, arms overhead, bringing them together and then landing them into the chest. Coming back to that gratitude, cultivating a space here of appreciation. Letting yourself breathe into the heart. As you exhale, release the hands down, dropping the fingers wide. Inhale, arms come up, gaze up to those hands, and then push your hips back as you swan dive, fold down to the ground. Finding yourself mellowing over the thighs again. Hands on the shins, inhale, half lift, pull your collarbone forward, and then exhale, palms to the ground, step back towards a plank pose. Having your feet about hips distance, hands right under shoulders, press against the ground. Feel yourself hollowing out the heart just a bit. Arms are squeezing towards each other, creating a nice strong energy through the body. Pushing forward on your toes, you can always drop to your knees if you need to. We're going to lower our chest down to the mat. Let the tops of the feet land, press into them so the kneecaps float, and then gently just lift the heart up. Use more of your back, and you can check if you're doing that by floating the hands. If you drop down, then you are using your arms. We're trying to wake up the back muscles here to open up the front body. Release back down, exhale. We're going to send our hips to our heels, push up, go into child's pose, land back, belly onto thighs. Allow your forehead to drop here and just rock it a little bit side to side. Taking a deep breath into the back body, feel the skin expand. And then let your fingers pull you up, come back onto your hands and knees. We're going to go through that same kickstand modified plank on the side. So bring your right foot off to the right, makes this nice little 90-degree kickstand. We're going to open left leg back, and we're going to take the left arm up now. Finding the flatness of that back left foot, pinky toe is on the ground. Reach your left hand forward so the bicep is stretching by the ear, and we can get a little bit more of our side body stretching. Take one more deep breath here, and now we're going to add a lift of that left leg. So lift the left leg, start to bend the knee. Even if you can't reach, pull this heel towards your glute. You're opening your quad. Grab the top of the foot, start to bring your shoulder blades closer together, kicking into your hand. Feel your heart bow out to the side. Take one more breath here. There's one of our birds saying hello. Start to release the hand and the foot. Drop the left hand, drop the left toes. Mindfully, we're going to lift this right leg, start to pike the hips into that three-legged down dog, firming our knuckles of a hand down into the ground. Legs go straight and strong, lift the left heel and then drop it. Lift the left heel and then drop it. Bring the right toes down right next to the left. Pedal out both your feet. We're in this down dog shape. We're pushing the sit bones up to the sky, alternating knee bends here just to warm up the back body. Start to walk towards the hands, look forward, come towards the top side of the mat, heels under the hips. Little bit of softness to the knees, drop the head heavy. Belly's engaged, pull it in, and then halfway rise, lift the collarbone forward. Feel your shoulder heads move back and down the body. Exhale, relax and release. Reverse your swan dive. Inhale, wide arms, stand tall. Bring your palms together, feeling that sun on your face if you're outside, allowing yourself to soak in the good vibes of this day. Taking a deep breath here, lift all 10 toes and then drop each one down individually. Bringing that weight centered through ball and heel of foot and every toe pad pressing. Release the hands and then scoop the air. Inhale, reach up. Inhale here. Exhale, swan dive, pulling the shoulders back to open the heart as you fold down to the ground. Hands up the shins, lengthen the spine, making like an upside down L here. Exhale, fold, plant your palms, and then step back to your plank. Finding yourself about hips distance with your feet, knowing that you can use your knees here, modify. Push forward, chaturanga, lowering all the way down. Using our back power, press through the tops of the feet, lift the collarbone and the chest off of the mat, maybe float the hands, a little check here, and then exhale back down. Lift up, pushing your hips to your heels, mellow down into that child's pose, feeling the spine get some space. Nice deep stretch into that lower back here, feels good. Breathe into wherever you feel the stretch. That way we're helping our body to release. We're not avoiding what's tense. We're breaking it down. We're making it more supple, more spacious. Bringing yourself back up onto your hands and knees. Starting to stack your palms. We're going to lift the right leg out behind us. Point through the big toe. Feel yourself get nice and long. Lift the back of the head. As you exhale, bring your knee into your nose, pressing through the ground in the hands. Inhale, stretch it out. Lift that big toe, lift the back of the head. And then exhale, curl it in. Focus on the belly working here. We're toning up the abs, warming up the core for more strength and stability later. Last exhale, crunch. Now inhale, take the leg out. Curl your left toes under. If you can, lift up into that three-legged dog. If you need to drop the right toes and then come up, down dog and lift the leg, that's fine too. Starting to rise onto the left foot. Get the right heel nice and high. Take your gaze where you're going. Look towards your thumbs. Bring your right foot forward. Step it as close to that thumb as you can. We really just want to get the knee over the ankle. So if you didn't quite make it, just scoot it forward until you have that nice stack. Dropping the left knee down to the ground. Place the left palm flat. Bring your right hand onto the thigh and gently just push into that thigh, taking your gaze over your right shoulder. Try not to shrug your neck at any part of this practice. Think of the shoulders always trying to give space for your ears. Deep breath in, and then exhale, come down, drop the hand to the ground. Push back, lengthen out the leg, bring the toes up towards the shin, and then pull your heart towards those toes. Get a nice long spine. Rolling back into a bent knee. Start to lift the left knee up. Take it to the top of the mat, heel under the hip, forward fold. We're going to bend the knees a lot more. We're going to start to drop the hips back, searching for this invisible chair. We're going to lift the arms up. Peeking down, we want to see all 10 of our toes, and we want to have that back not over ducked and then not over tucked. So finding that nice neutral part here where your belly's working and your tail is just turned down enough to feel space in the lower spine. If you feel extra shruggy in your neck, you can always bring your hands to prayer. Taking one more breath here, seeing those 10 toes, sit a little bit deeper, then power through your feet. Inhale, straighten up your legs, gaze up to the sky, and bring your hands down into the heart as you exhale. Taking that moment to pause, filling the body with the breath, checking in with our thoughts. Our thoughts create this current of emotion. Our emotions create our reality. So just mindfully coming into what you're thinking and redirecting if it's not creating an experience that you want to have. Building from the bottom up, press to the feet, arms come overhead, inhale, and then exhale, swan dive, lead with the heart, fold down to the mat. Hands up the shins, halfway rise, shoulder tips pull to the hips, and then exhale, fold, plant your palms, find your plank pose. We're going to try a little bit bigger of a back bend called up dog. If you need to, stay with the cobras, which were the smaller ones we were doing before. We're going to push off the toes, exhale, chaturanga. Flip the top of the foot down, push into the hands and the tops of the feet, feeling your heart expand as you hover up into up dog. Starting to pull your belly button in, lift the tail, uncurl, and push the heels down into your downward dog. Tapping out the heels, bringing them together, starting to lift through your left leg. Left leg long and strong. Pick up your right heel, get higher through both of them. Look where you're going, step to the top as best as you can. Left foot lands, right knee comes down. Get your stack. Find a little bit of space, planting the right palm down to the ground here. We're going to take our twist, left hand on the thigh, gentle press. Look over that left shoulder. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Let it go, unwind, coming back into your half split. Lengthen out this left leg, pull your chest towards your toes. Roll back into the left foot, lifting right knee. Big toe steps up next to the left, working our heels under our hips, big exaggerated bend in the knees, set the tail down, lift up into our chair, inhale, arms up. See our 10 toes, neutral our spine, get our collarbone wide. Maybe that means spreading your arms out a little bit more in a Y shape. Taking one more exhale, dip into the hips, get low, and then push to the heels, inhale to your back bend, feeling like you're rolling gently over a barrel. Palms into the heart, exhale, come back to center. Feeling the grip of the toes, the press of the feet, arms rise, inhale. Longer in your waist, exhale, swan dive, fold it down to the mat. Halfway lift, lean forward, and then exhale, plant your palms. Step it back to your plank as you inhale. Knees or no knees, chaturanga, heart goes through. Cobras or up dogs, tops of feet are on the ground pressing in either one. Downward dog, hips go high, pedal out the feet. We're pressing away from the front line of the mat. Our hands have a nice strong energy, guiding our heart closer to our legs. Our legs can be still at this point, or if you still like to warm them up, it's taking longer today to get that release in the back of them, keep tapping the heels down. We're going to work the big toes together. Pick up the right heel, inhale. Look where you're going, step forward to the top. Drop the left knee down. This time we're going to bring both hands onto your front thigh. Press up, finding the tail tucking down and the chest rising high. Bringing both arms up and overhead. Maybe your gaze can go up towards the sky or even towards those thumbs. Pressing the fingertips together. Gently bring both thumbs into the heart and then twist the body. Left elbow goes outside that right thigh. We're going to push through the right heel primarily and then add secondarily a little turn with the palms pressing. Trying to bring the center of your chest, this nice strong sternum bone, towards the thumbs. Look over your right shoulder. Deep breath, pull the belly button in and then gently release, hands come down. Push back, straighten out your right leg. Lift your chest to your toes, inhale. And then exhale, place the foot down. Grip the mat with all those toes. Lifting the left knee up. Find a stance that might feel a little bit short, but not so much that the knee is going to pass the ankle. We just want stability here. We're going to ground into this right heel. See if we can start to hover our fingertips off the ground. Now, a lot of this power is coming from our glutes, so push and stand up. From there, we're trying to pull the belly up and that tail down. Reach your arms overhead. Have your back heel nice and high, feeling the front of the hip hugging forward here. We're in a hinge from just the waist. So exhale, hinge like you're going to grab onto a handlebar. And then pushing through the right heel, rise up. Opening your arms to a T, we're going to twist left hand forward and right hand's going to go back. Maybe our gaze can go back to that hand. Come back to center, biceps by ears. We're going to repeat those two movements. So exhale, hinge, grounding through the right heel. Inhale, rise, tucking through the tail. Exhale, twist, rotating at the shoulders. Inhale, back to center. Last one. Exhale, hinge. If you're shaking, good. Muscle confusion, arms up. Inhale. We're making our body work. Exhale, twist. Now stay twisted. Let the left hand lower down to the ground. It's just about near the arch, maybe a little ahead of the shoulder. Taking the right arm up, gaze to that thumb, and then lower the right hand down to the mat. Step the left foot up, giving yourself a little break here. You could pedal out in your fold. That right leg just did a lot of work. Give it some release. Exhale, dropping through the back of the head. And then halfway rise. Leaning forward a bit towards the front of the foot, pulling your chest like there's a string, drawing it forward. Exhale, down. Reverse swan dive. Strong feet. Arms come up. Inhale. Palms into heart. Exhale. Close the eyes. Take that inventory. How does your body feel? How is your mind reacting when we get a little bit of challenge and burn in the muscles? This is just a training course for everything else. We're practicing the beings we want to be right here, right now. Our responses, all that is just a training ground. Arms come up, inhale. Swan dive down, exhale. Halfway rise, lift forward. Plant your palms and step back. Plank pose, hold strong. Use your knees if you need to, press off the toes. Heart leads the way, all the way down if you like, or stop halfway. Coming into cobra or up dog, I'm doing a little floating cobra here, baby style. Exhale down and go into your downward dog. Taking your sit bones high, pedaling out your feet. Tapping down, bringing the big toes together as you pedal. Strong hands, strong arms. Lift the left leg to the sky. Looking where we're going, step forward to the top of the mat. Drop your right knee down. Now I naturally slide my leg away because I want a little bit more hip flexor stretch. If that feels too intense for you today, you can keep it a little bit closer. Bringing the left hand onto the thigh, rise up, and then bring your arms up and overhead. Pressing the palms together, feeling yourself curling the tail down and feeling the root of the left heel and the right shin. Guiding thumbs in towards the heart, starting to land them to that chest bone. Twist, right elbow goes outside the left thigh. Push into your left heel, gentle palm press together, rotating your gaze maybe over the left shoulder. Keeping everything steady with breath. So you might not go as far as I'm offering, but as long as you're breathing, you're doing yoga. Come back slowly down to the ground. Frame out that left foot. You could be on fingertips, push back. Raise the toes, guiding the heart forward. Deep breath in. As you exhale, rebend the knee. Let those toes spread out, grip into the mat. Curling the back toes, maybe shorten the stance here. It makes it a little bit more stable, but keep your stack. Pushing strong into your left heel. Feel your chest being pulled forward as your fingers are floating here. Lots of work into this left thigh. We're starting to tap into its power. Arms come up, inhale. So we're gonna go through our leans and our twists. Remember, whatever you think you can do or you can't do is correct. So think you can and work through it. Exhale, hinging, powering through the left heel as you lean the heart. Inhale, rising, tucking the tail, and then twisting. Right hand forward, left hand back, maybe the gaze goes to it. Come back up, inhale, biceps by ears. Exhale, hinge your weight forward over front thigh, gripping the mat with the toes. Inhale, rise, and then exhale, twist. Using that breath, inhale, and then exhale. One more, you have it. Inhale, tuck the tail, exhale, turn the shoulders. Staying turned, right hand's gonna land somewhere under the shoulder or just ahead as a modification. Right thigh is strong as the left arm is reaching towards the sky. Deep breath in, and then exhale, left hand comes down. Bring your right foot underneath the hip, step to the top. Give yourself that little wiggle pedal in your fold, relaxing the left side. Big exhale, drop your shoulders, drop your head. And then bring yourself halfway lifted. Flatten the back, and then fold it right back down. Reverse your swan dive. Inhale, stand tall. Bringing the palms together, exhale. Taking that little moment here, drop the chin to the chest. Breathing up the back line of the legs, letting it cascade as it exhales over the front line of our body. Release and sweep, arms come up overhead. Take your gaze to the thumbs and then swan dive down. sit bones push back as your heart lays to the thighs. Lean it forward, half lift. Exhale, hands down, step to your plank. We're going to lower halfway or all the way down. Push off the toes, elbows graze your ribs, finding your back bend of choice. I personally love Cobra. There's so much effort in the back, so you're really strengthening the back muscles. I can't cheat with my arms like I can do if I were doing a fuller Cobra or if I was doing up dog. So I like to concentrate on strengthening the back because there's so much rounding in our postures these days, from sitting in cars to sitting at desks and on the couch. Downward dog, lift your hips back to that pike. Strong hands, push the heart back. Big toes together. Right leg to sky, take it high. Lift the left heel, make some more space. Look to the right pinky finger and then take your foot outside of that pinky finger. Now this one you might work the left foot a little further back, getting a nice long stance. We're trying to open up this left hip. So we're going to rock it forward and back here, massaging into the left hip flexor. Taking it one more breath. So we're going to slowly push to the left foot. As you push to the left foot, my left heel's turning in. I'm going to start to put my weight into that left heel and lengthen my right leg out. So this might be lower than some of you feel comfortable to go. You can stay really high, keeping your hands as more of a support rather than the left foot. Or you can dip down into that side lunge, letting that big opening to the inner thigh and hamstring happen. The left foot is your power point here. Press it all the way back to the top. Leave the left foot more sideways. Heel toe your right foot until its heel lines up with the arch. Pushing strong into your right heel like we did before in our lunge. Lift up to your warrior two. Bring your hands onto your hips for a moment. Level them out and then let the left hip drop towards the right heel. Feeling that nice deep stretch into the groin. Then reach the fingertips out again. Big breath in. Sink down a little deeper. Pushing through the heel of the front foot, side of the left foot. Deep breath in. And then exhale a little deeper. Slowly spin your hands down to the ground, letting the left heel turn up as you do so. Straighten out both your legs. Rock onto the heel. Try to pick up the right toes here, making a little bit more stretch to the lower calf and near the ankle. Bending your right knee. Slowly release the left knee down. Flatten the left palm. So we're going to pull the left heel into the glute. Right hand's going to reach, and we're going to see if we can grab it. Again, just like before, if you can't, just actively pull this heel in. Otherwise, if you can hold the top of the foot, kick into that hand and try to rotate the heart up. Give yourself a deep breath. Finding yourself, instead of shying away from what's tight, being like, this is where I got to work. This is where I need to release. We don't want to live in our limits. We want to live in our potential. So that's why we face the things that are uncomfortable and we start to dissolve those lines. Deep breath in and exhale. Let go of that foot. Slowly lift the left knee up. Take a big step to the top. We're going to bring big toes all the way together with just a little gap between the heels. Sitting down into the heels, dropping towards our chair. Bring your palms to prayer, right at the heart together. We're going to see all 10 toes as we really dip the hips down. And now guide the left elbow outside the right thigh. Gently press your hands so your heart's lifting. The center of my chest is turning up to my thumbs. If I gaze down, my knees are still in alignment. Deep breath in. Drop the hips. We're going to stand right into our back bend. Push through the feet. Arms sweep up overhead. Inhale. And then bring your hands into the heart. Exhale. Regroup, recharge. Practicing the beings we want to be. Arms come up. Inhale. Exhale, swan dive. Lead forward with the chest. Halfway rise. Lift the heart. And then plant your palms. Step back to your plank. Lower all the way or halfway. I'm going to that cobra. Like I said, I love me some cobra. Toenails press wherever you are. And then meeting back towards your downward dog. Giving yourself 3 breaths here. Keep the neck loose. Shake the chin side to side. Guiding your feet closer together. Bringing the big toes to touch and the left leg up. We're going to take our gaze towards that left pinky finger. Lift the right heel. Big step, left foot comes forward right next to that pinky finger. Slide the right foot a little bit back to make more stretch and space, and then just get high in the fingertips, rock it forward and back. The left heel has an energy pushing down, helping to stabilize as we're opening. Finding one more rock here. We're going to start to look to the right heel, turn that right heel in as we push out of our left leg, dropping all of our weight towards this foot. Again, if you need to keep yourself higher, if it feels too intense to get this low, take a deep breath with your big toe pointing up as best as you can on that front leg. Deep breath in, push out of your right foot. Start to turn the right foot more parallel to the short edge, heel toe your front heel to intersect your back arch. Finding the left heel pushing down, making our job easier to rise, open up into your warrior two. Guiding your hands onto the hips. If your right hip is cocked up a little bit, guide it down more even, and then start to send it towards the left heel. If your knee is going way past this ankle, take your stance a little bit wider here. Feeling the opening of the left knee away from the right hip, nice and squared. We're stretching out our fingers and finding that warrior two power. So it's a warrior pose. Warriors need to have strength, and that's what we're cultivating here. Strength of our legs, running up to our core. Exhale a little bit deeper. One more breath, inhale. And then exhale a little bit deeper. Spin your hands down to the ground. Slowly let the back heel pivot up. Taking a big step to the top, guiding our big toes together. Heels have that little gap. Starting to rise up towards our chair. Dropping our tail a little bit more, seeing our 10 toes. Palms come down to prayer. Starting to lower and then twist, right elbow outside the thigh. So before we deepen too much, make sure that that knee is still next to the left. So they wouldn't be breaking plane, so it'd be on the same plane. Rotate by pressing through the palms, sinking through the hips. One more deep breath in and out. Press to the feet, stand up, inhale, arms come overhead, big back bend, and then exhale, swan dive down. Folding to the mat. Halfway, lift the heart forward. Exhale, plant the palms. We're going to step back. And this time, come onto your forearms. So dropping elbows right underneath your shoulders. Trying to firm up by pushing through the heels and squeezing through the quads. Feel the elbows drive into the ground. Keeping the back of the head lifted just enough so that way the head's not sagging. It's not over lifted. You're not looking straight ahead. You're looking forward and down so you could see your thumbs. Rock it on the toes. Push forward. Press back. 10, 9. Breathe with it. 8. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Push back, lay the thighs down, lay the front of the hips down, uncurl the toes, and then press to the elbows, trying to pull the heart more through the biceps. Here your chin would be parallel to the ground, and we're trying to think of this collarbone really spreading out, so the shoulder blades are gently pulling towards the spine and the back. Giving yourself a little front press through the front part of our pelvis here to protect the lower back. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Let your elbows slide out, pulling the hands closer by your chest edge. Give yourself a little rest in child's pose, guiding yourself hips back towards heels. Softening your head, maybe you rock it out side to side. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Pulling the body back up, coming onto your hands and knees. Stretching that left leg out behind you. Bring that left foot outside the hand. We're going to move the right hand down just a little bit. Finding that twist. Option here, pull the right heel up. We're going to reach the left hand back. Even if you can't grab the foot, squeeze it in. If you can, once you have that foot, kick it out. Feeling more space in the front of the left shoulder. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Slowly let it go. Lifting your right knee up. Take it to the long edge of your mat, this right side long edge. Set your heels up so they be on the same line. Turn your big toes in towards each other. And then let the fingertips be about shoulders distance. Start to exhale, pull down the head with those fingertips just pressing into the mat. Inhale, rise up. And then exhale, pull back down. Inhale, rise up. And then exhale, pull back down. We're going to rise up, spin the heels in. We have our knees about over our ankle line here. We're going to bring our hands onto the thighs, finding a little press onto the tops of the thighs. Bringing your tailbone down and your belly up. Twist your right shoulder to your left knee. Exhale, turn, pressing the right leg away. Inhale up. Keep the energy through the pinky toe side of the foot and the heel. Turn the left shoulder to the right knee. Inhale up. One more time each side. Right shoulder turns to the left. Bring it back to your center. Left shoulder turns to the right. Inhale to your center. Squeeze your thighs as you straighten your legs. Big toes can turn in just a little bit for better balance. Open up like a big star pose. Bring your hands onto your hips. Start to turn all 10 toes to the front side of your mat. Big step, right foot meets the left with our heels underneath our hips. We're going to try a little bit more standing balance. You might actually go near a wall if you're newer to standing on one leg, because you can use it as a little crutch for your fingers. You're going to put the weight in the right foot. So lift all the 5 toes, drop them down intentionally. Feel that grounding, equal parts of the ball and the heel. Start to look down. Starting there is a little bit easier. Hands on your hips. Do your best to keep them level as you pick the left knee up. Finding a squeeze of the right quad, a root through that foot should get you a little bit taller. And then bringing the left knee out to the side, we're going to reach for that foot and try to put it inside the thigh. You might need to drop below the knee, but don't put it on the knee. Feeling yourself as best as you can, hands on the hips to keep them level and squared forward. If you find that you can keep those actions and you want to take a little bit more challenge, reach the arms up overhead. Index to thumb coming into our tree, honoring the nature that we're in. It's such a beautiful day here in Sarasota. Springtime's the best time here. The weather's just right. So this is our paying tribute to nature. Bringing the palms together at the heart. Start to bring the left knee forward. Feeling still that squeeze in your right glute. Left toes are going to spread. We're going to kick the heel away, tipping ourselves into our warrior 3. So modification here will be to drop your fingertips. You might notice that one side you don't need to drop and one side you do. We're going to slowly soften the right knee so it's not locked straight. And then we will drop our fingertips. Let the left toes lunge towards the back. Placing the left heel down, foot into the ground. So the heel is turned in and the toes slightly out. Warrior 1 foot, rise up. Taking a squareness to the shoulders, forward, squareness of the hips. If it's really tight, widen your stance to the sides of the mat. You can also take it a little bit longer if you find that your knee is passing your ankle. Taking a deep breath in, cactus your arms, big open gesture of our heart, of our gratitude for this day. Good things are coming to us. Arms come up, inhale, and then straighten your right leg. Exhale, fold down, just gently into a pyramid. Again, the stance can go a little bit longer. Deep breath in, and then soften your right knee, step the left foot up to the top. Exhale here. One last bit of our power, and then we'll start to cool it down. Lift the heart forward, half lift. Exhale, mellow down to the ground. Reverse your swan dive, strong arms. Taking the palms together and into the heart. Looking down, put your heels under your hips. Let the left toes start to lift, spread, and drop. Hands can stir in the hips. Bring your right heel up. Start to raise the knee forward, centering and squaring the hips. Guiding the right knee a little bit out, possibly catching that ankle, putting it high above the knee or dropping it below the knee. You can even kickstand the toes. Squeezing through the left glute. If you feel stable today, bring the arms up. Now, don't worry if yesterday you were awesome at this and today it's a struggle. Our body fluctuates. Roll with the wave, roll with where you are now. Start here, not starting where you were before. Deep breath in, deep breath out, finding our tree. Even if you're not in nature, it's good to remember we are nature. So here's your point to remember you're beautiful as you are. You're always a work in progress and at the same time complete and whole. Bringing the right knee forward, hands down to the chest. Finding the spread of the right toes, still activating that left glute. Softening a little bit in the left knee, not too much. Hinge forward, pushing the right heel out. Again, you can drop your fingertips here as a modification. Taking one more breath. Soften the left knee, hands will come down. Right foot's going to drop towards the back of the mat. Spin the heel in so the foot has a small turn to it, reaching the arms up into your warrior one. So we have different sides. This side feels different for me. I'm widening my stance and then shortening the back heel so I can keep it grounded. You do you. You know your body. Listen to its needs. Taking that squareness, heart forward, inhale, gaze up. Exhale, cactus arms, big open gesture. Good things coming. Arms, inhale up, straighten the front leg, and then hinge forward into your version of pyramid. Pressing through the ball of the left foot, halfway lift, inhale, and then big step, right foot comes to the top, exhale. As you fold, bring your feet to heel toe together. Lifting the heels up, start to send your hips down to the heels. Lifting your chest up into a toe stand here. Option to try a little bit of balance work. You could bring your hands to the heart, squeezing the inner thigh energy together, keeping the big toe connection. We're going to take it down slowly to our butt. Use your hands if you need to. Maybe a little challenge here. Drop just your heels down. So my butt's still off the ground. I'm squeezing my knees together, and then I let my tail come down intentionally. Shift yourself towards the center of your mat. Bringing your feet together and your knees apart. Finding that root again, even out your flesh. Nice tall spine. Let your hands scoop down to the feet, gently pulling the big toes open like you're opening a book, keeping the pinky toe side as that bind of the book. Elbows start to bend as your chest is being magnetically drawn to the big toes. Feeling the breath elongating our spine. Feeling that nice heaviness through the knees. One more inhale. One more exhale. Ever so gently, roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. We're going to make sure we have our legs on the mat as we straighten out our left leg. Bring your right foot into the left inner thigh. So we're making this 4 shape. This is going to be a version for our back bend to really just continue the energy flow for this day. Bring your right arm up, sweep it like a fan, plant the fingers away from you. We're going to roll our weight towards this right leg, lifting the hips with the left arm. So just pushing your hips up, feeling the right shoulder gently glide back. The left toes can press down into the ground. It feels nice on that ankle to stretch out. The left pinky finger has a lot of power, reaching intentionally away to open up the body. Now pushing into the right hand as you lower down, let your hips return to the mat, keeping the 4 shape, arms come up. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I am getting this little kiss of pollen, and it's so cool how nature is just like raining on me. It might look like flurries on your end, but it's just really cool to see nature in its works. Arms come up and then hinge towards the left leg. So here it's not about the leg being straight, it's about protecting the low back for sure. So if you feel a lot of strain or you've had any kind of disc issues in that lower back, give your left knee a healthy bend. And then we can turn our chest towards that knee. You're still getting a stretch, you're not missing out. The difference is when the leg's straight, you're a little more superficial. When the knee's bent, you're a little bit deeper actually, getting into that deep line of hamstring. Chest pulls towards those toes. One more breath in and out. Drop your hands down and then roll the spine back up. Sliding your right foot out and your left foot comes in. Finding that nice 4 shape with our legs. Left arm sweeps, plant the palm back behind you. Lift with the right arm, lift with the hips. Find that gentle back bend so you don't have to go high if you don't feel ready. Feeling the reach to the toes and the pinky finger. Opening up our ribs. Breathing into our own freedom. Slowly push to the left hand as you let the hips return back down. squaring yourself forward. Again, you might want a big bend in your knee. Maybe the leg's just super tight and you need to bend the knee anyway. Take your arms up and hinge forward towards the foot. Finding that collarbone, trying to connect to your toes, that hinge coming out of your hip. Give yourself closed eyes for a moment. Be all in this stretch. You came to do yoga. Keep that service going. Don't let yourself drift off somewhere else. Dropping the hands down, fingertips help you to roll up and rise. Starting to bring your right knee into a bend and then the left knee into a bend. We want to make sure as we roll back that we're going to find ourselves head on the mat. I have a nice extra long mat today, so I'm good. You can use the backs of your thighs as a little safety here, letting yourself roll down, head and shoulders land. Bringing one hand to the knee and then the other. Stir around the knees like you're stirring a pot. And just massaging out the lower back. Go both ways. And then bringing just the right knee into the chest, stretch that left leg out. Finding the left heel landing on the ground, push it away so you have extra space happening into this hip. We're going to drop the right arm into a T position. I like palm up because it continues the chain of opening the heart, but if you're struggling to ground, you can do palm down. It's a little bit easier. Left hand guides the knee over, twisting. So the shoulders stay level, but the hips start to stack. Your gaze can be towards this right thumb, towards your willingness to open. Your belly's toning in. Start to pull the belly button to the spine, and that helps not only to release the back more, but also to protect it. Deep breath, inhale, exhale. Really experience the vibration that happens when you moan, when you groan. Those are all purposeful. We have noises because they create different vibrations for different experiences. So tap into the ones that you use when you're ready to let go of stress. We're going to bring this right knee back towards our center. Leave the right knee into the chest. Slide the left foot onto the ground again so the knee points up. We're going to cross the right ankle onto the thigh. And the hips are going to try to pivot for some of us. So make sure that your hips try to stay the same squared shape as we lift the left leg up. You might grab the back of the left thigh or the front of the shin. Activate your toes into the shin as you draw the shin into the chest. Using your breath here, if there's a lot of intensity or you feel like it's not able to deepen, give it movement. The mind might be too engaged to relax. So you could inhale, soften your stretch, and then exhale, pull it back in just a bit more. Let this feel good. Use your moans, your groans, any sighs to feel release into that right glute. We get pretty tight in our hips from doing anything too much standing, too much running, too much sitting. Anything in excess can tighten these bad boys up. So we're just giving them some loving. Last breath, exhale into the closest you were able to create. And then slowly place the left foot down. Bring the right foot down onto the ground. Windshield wiper your legs a little bit side to side. The arms could be to T. They could be just on your hands, heart and belly if you want. Coming back towards the center. Bringing the left knee into the chest. As you hold the left knee, stretch out your right leg. Feel that right heel sliding along your mat, making extra room into these hips, making us taller here for our day. Deep breath in and out. Let the left hand fall open from the shoulder and then guide that knee across your body into your twist. The gaze could turn to the thumb, but if that's bothering your neck, keep your chin up. We're just knowing what we can do. It doesn't mean that we have to do it. This is really deciphering what is right and in the best interest for you in this moment. Deep breath in, pull the belly button as you exhale. Moans and groans here. If you feel this kind of, ooh, I don't want to make noises in your head or any kind of commentary about that, that might be a point to reflect on where you feel weird to be yourself, weird to explore. Let all of that go. Find a little freedom here. Mat's a safe space to goof up, be goofy, mess up. And gently bring that left knee back towards your chest. Let your right knee slide to that bend. Foot's on the ground to start. Crossing the left ankle here, making sure our hips stay as square as you can. Left toes draw into flexion to the shin as we lift the right leg and start to reach somewhere to hold that right leg. Keep your head and shoulders as best as you can on the ground. You could always prop your head on a block or pillow if you're hanging in space a little bit. We don't want that neck to be in tension. We want it to feel really relaxed. So support yourself as needed. We have a few breaths here. You can ebb and flow or just continue to pull in deeper as you feel your body giving in to the stretch. Two more breaths. We're going to slowly let this right foot come back on the ground. Let this left foot mimic and come feet hips distance. So we're going to take a bridge, which is a final back bend, just to keep ourselves nice and stable in our hip. If you need to, hopefully you guys get to see these really cool geese flying through. If you need to, put your heels a little ahead of your knees. If you have sensitive injuries in your knees, it might be more comfortable for you in bridge. Let your shoulders tuck down so they lay flat, and then we're going to push through our heels, spread the toes down, let the tailbone curl up, and then push into your bridge. Feeling a little bit of space for your chin from your throat, so we're not over condensing the space. We can still have energy flowing. Feeling that grounding from the earth, so you're pushing through the points that connect. One more sip, hips up. And then as you exhale, let the body be a wave. Roll the upper body down, then the middle, vertebrae by vertebrae, intentionally landing that back nice and neutral. Pause here. You don't always have to jump into a counteraction. Sometimes just stillness is the best thing to do. Letting yourself relax. And then we'll gently bring both our knees in to our chest. You can take it one at a time. Pulling your knees apart just a little bit. Finding a gentle rock side to side, massaging out the lower back space. Finding our knees together and just stretching the heels up to the sky for a moment. Circle out your toes, bring some space into your ankles, maybe crack the toes if they feel like they didn't get quite enough stretching today and they need a little pop action. Give yourself 3 breaths here, feeling the energy flowing back down. Letting yourself help that edema, any excess blood flow, any excess liquid in our legs to recycle, be used for better energy being. One more exhale, letting the knees come back towards a bend. We're going to slide the left heel down and then the right. If it feels okay in the lower back, stretch your heels out to the corners of the mat. Again, rest the shoulders down. You might need to push to the back of the head, lifting them and then tucking them. Bring space from your side. Hopefully you have lots of room here. You can have your arms away, just keeping a nice energy flow as we come into the most important posture, which is our Shavasana. Closing your eyes, start to feel that dropping of your body, dropping of your edges. Starting from the feet, feel the toes fall, feeling those knees gently rolling out. A heavier sensation of your hips dropping into the mat. Noticing the belly, easing up any activation here, all the organs just starting to lay a little bit flatter. As you're breathing and you're working up the body, feeling that natural rise and fall of the chest. Not forcing it, but really enjoying it. Feeling what can fall more as you exhale. Our hands are up, helping the chest line to open, which is our heart line. Continuing good circulation. Also a gesture that We're tapping into our inner well-being, our confidence, our courage. Courage meaning from the heart. Maybe taking a big swallow, clearing that pathway of heart knowledge to mental intellect. Letting your jawline get softer. Put a little air pillow between your teeth. Cheeks are falling. Noticing the eyelids resting heavier as your forehead smooths out. And just taking a pause here. Leaving your eyes closed. Staying as long as you can here. Like I said, this is the best part. When we move our body, this is where we flush it, where we detox. We're letting our body regenerate here. Using that mind's imagination, visualize the breath as this white light coming in, charging your batteries, healing your cells. Pauses can be transformative, so stay in your pause here. Noticing your surroundings. Maybe you hear my birds chirping in the background. Maybe you're outside and you can hear your birds. Soaking in the good energy around you. Knowing that the energy you keep becomes the magnet that you attract. Letting yourself gently activate fingers and toes. Getting wiggles, flicks, curling them into the palm, into the sole of the foot. We'll slowly bend one knee and then the other. Letting your right arm slide back, prepping as a pillow, and then very gently rolling onto your right side. Finding the left hand coming across your chest here. Feeling this new moment here. Even if it's the end of the day for you, this is still a turning point. You can still have a great day here on out. Left hand's going to push into the ground, rising up slowly, coming towards your seat, bringing yourself cross-legged Sukhasana. Taking a big reach of your arms overhead, scooping the air, letting the palms come together, crossing them through the mind and landing them to the heart. Feeling this moment right here better than when you started. Bowing the chin into the chest. Wishing you well from wherever you are. May you feel the love. May you feel the light in your light. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining us for WOW Tampa. Again, I'm in Sarasota, Florida at the beautiful Ringling. I hope you enjoyed this practice and all of our awesome environments, our fountain, our pool, the planes, the birds. Have a great day. Thanks T-Mobile for sponsoring us and helping local teachers like me continue to practice and be able to connect.